Let me ask you one last time. Do you really want to return to your original world? Yes. In front of the foundation that worships a god, a man and a woman faced each other within a vast space. Enough already, please send me back. I've caused enough trouble here. The man, Kim Min-jong, who was called Mino in this place, and was a Korean, stood up abruptly while kneeling with one knee and bowing. The woman, known as a saint, sighed as if the sight was familiar. I'll tell you once again, we didn't give you the job of a dark wizard because we hate you. But the saint hates me to death. Your sharp tongue is a bit of a problem, but we're really grateful for your help in silence for our empire. The saint continued to persuade Kim Min-jong in a tone that was like pacifying a child. In this world, the job of a dark wizard had a bad reputation, but you became the reason to change that. What you have accomplished so far is invaluable. So what should I do? The people here look at me like a monster. I'm sorry about that. Kim Min-jong firmly rejected the saint's persuasion. Despite receiving the death penalty in this world, he had risen to the pinnacle of a dark wizard. Power, fame, and wealth. He could even have women at his disposal if he wished. Why would I give those up? However, Kim Min-jong seemed to have no regrets about giving them up. Let's stop this ridiculous play now. What? I feel like I'm going to vomit. Kim Min-jong had his eyes fixed on the Holy Maiden. His eyes were so intense that they looked like he could kill her at any moment. The Holy Maiden took a step back, feeling uneasy under his gaze. You dragged me here against my will and acted like a madman. And now what? You want me to clean up after you? Kim Min-jong raised his right arm, as if showing the Holy Maiden something. Do you know what this is? If it weren't for the mark on my hand, you would be dead. In truth, the mark was nothing but a symbol that was no different from a leash. I am sorry for the way you've been treated. If you stay here, I will do anything for you. Minold? Without you, our empire would. Bring me some chicken. What? And some pork belly too. The Holy Maiden's eyes widened at the unfamiliar words. Do you know what? The food here is terrible. They feed you high-calorie snacks. How can anyone live like this? That's... I will try to improve it in the future. Fine. That aside, bring me a computer with high-speed internet and top-of-the-line specs. The Holy Maiden remained silent. Of course, it was impossible. This is why I want to return to my original world. Of course, the fact that the Holy Maiden was considered a garbage profession, a dark wizard, and a low-performance profession also played a part. Since it is Minold's wish, I understand. Let's begin the teleportation ritual. Finally, the Holy Maiden nodded her head in resignation and headed towards the magic circle on the right. Hurry up! When I go back, I have to attend the 4 Awakening in Dungeon Fighter Online. Or maybe the 5T Awakening has been released. Dungeon Fighter? What is that? It's a great game among great games. When I go back, I have to check in and receive rewards for inactive users. Sigh. I see. I don't understand what he means by chicken or dungeon fighter. In the end, the Holy Maiden gave up on Minold. She didn't know what kind of trouble she would stir up if she provoked him any further. A little later, the teleportation ritual began on the magic circle. Do you need a knight? If you remove the mark, you might die. I accept it willingly. It's all my fault. Not very fun. Kim Min-jong slept until the protection of the saint disappeared. We will begin the next ritual. Now that I'm doing it, you can leave. As soon as Kim Min-jong confirmed that the pattern on his hand had disappeared, he threw the saint far away. Of course, he threw her towards a place with soft cloth with minimal consideration. How could I give up the power that I've built up? Giving up power is obviously a lie. Black magic began to surge and violently emit from Kim Min-jong's hands. The magic quickly created a portal that could fit only one person. You've been a pain to meet until now, and if we meet again, you'll get your head smashed in. Minold Nim, you shouldn't make such a hasty decision for dimensional travel. I know. That's why I practiced over 1,000 times. I am the peak of dark magic. After striking a pose towards the saint, Kim Min-jong flew into the portal. Tell your parents to live a long and healthy life, you dog. The black portal disappeared with a loud noise as soon as Kim Min-jong entered. The saint, who was left alone, closed her eyes as if she had a headache. Do you know how crazy you are to do this for someone you like? A portal opened in a small one-room apartment of about 2 pyongs. And then it spit out a man and turned into small particles and scattered. Phew! I thought I was gonna die during dimensional travel. Kim Minjun stood up and slowly looked around. He had practiced his dark magic in preparation for his return, but it was his first time actually entering it. Even if it's not Korea, please let it be inside the planet. Please. If we were to move to another dimension instead of Earth, it would be a headache. In that case, we would have to reconsider the coordinates we have experimented with so far. He picked up the smartphone lying on the desk first. Ah, I missed this feeling. With a slightly awkward gesture, he operated the screen, and Korean time appeared along with the background screen he had set. January 25, 2020. 5:01 a.m. My phone is definitely here. Kim Min-jun checked the Dungeon Fighter online, DFO illustration set as his background screen, and smiled with satisfaction. This was a picture he had privately commissioned from a webtoon aspirant, paying out of his own pocket. And this is the studio apartment I used to live in. Moldy walls and ceiling, and a gaming laptop on the desk. I'm back. I'm back. Kim Min-jun shouted with joy at the thought of returning to his hometown. Oh, get a grip on yourself. There's still 50 minutes left to reset my DFO fatigue. Quickly operating his laptop, Kim Min-jun launched the game. For a man who had been living in another world for over 20 years, it was a familiar operation. As expected, I've reached the fourth awakening. I wonder if I can get the rest reward. Kim Min-jun. As of 2020, he is a young man who has turned 21. When he was a third-year high school student preparing for the college entrance exam in 2018, he was summoned to another world by the call of a holy maiden. The name of that world was Isgard, a world where monsters that could only be seen in games roamed. Although he hoped that he could become invincible by receiving special powers from the holy maiden like in a typical RPG, that was not the case at all. Kim Min-jun was given the job of a dark magician by the holy maiden and worked secretly from behind without revealing his real name. Why? Because being a dark magician was a job that was heavily criticized. Such nonsense. I never even thought of helping those guys. Kim Min-jun fought against monsters around him, and sometimes even enemy soldiers like a madman in order to become stronger, or rather, to go back to his own world. He thought that if he became stronger, he might be able to acquire a skill that would allow him to move between dimensions. Of course, he realized too late that his actions were of great benefit to the empire that summoned him. I worked hard to become strong all this time, and now they want me to return it? Such nonsense. Currently, there was no magic power left in his body, and his physical abilities were not the same as they used to be. But it didn't matter since he wouldn't need this power much in the future. He would enjoy his life for the next 100 years, or even buy the company that made the game if it ever failed. Kim Min-jun hummed a tune and waited for the game screen to appear. Hey, what's wrong with the internet here? Is it really only downloading at 200 MPs? While he complained about the slow internet speed, he heard monsters' roars outside. And then, consecutive gunshots. It's so loud. Has a hound appeared nearby? He didn't pay much attention to it and carefully read through the game patch notes. The phenomenon of dungeons appearing had clearly happened when he was 7 years old. Even back then, I remember the soldiers killing the monsters when they appeared. These bastards. They're so loud it's driving me crazy. The gunshots and screams just wouldn't stop. Kim Min-jun opened the window and looked outside to see what these guys were up to. Wait a minute. He looked at the scene outside and quickly went out of the house. Something was strange. This wasn't the Korea he knew. What's going on? Why is this happening? Soldiers in hunter and hound uniforms were fighting a battle about 100 m away. Of course, something like this could happen. Sometimes monsters would form groups and come out of dungeons. Did they build a dungeon here? Looking around, there were only monster corpses. The smell of decaying monsters and blood. And the collapsed buildings. It was like a war zone. No, it was a landscape that reminded one of an apocalypse. Did the dungeon break here? Why are there so many hounds? How would I know? I'm just a private. Let's take care of that one over there. The 10 or so soldiers divided their roles and skillfully dealt with the hounds. I should ask those old men something. This Korea is too different from what I know. Kim Min-jun yawned lazily and decided to wait until the soldiers' battle was over. Oh, Private Choi and Ho. Why are you here when you're going to die tired? Hey, over there. There's a civilian. What did you say? Choi In-ho, who was stabbing a knife into the hound's side in front of him, turned his attention to his successor's urgent words. As the guy said, there was a student looking at them with curiosity. This is a restricted civilian access area. What are these guard dogs doing? Choi In-ho immediately left the line of formation. It was in accordance with the Hunter Army's manual to prioritize the protection of civilians. What? Why is that old man coming to me? Kim Min-joon cocked his head as he watched a soldier gesturing to him. His expression also seemed desperate. Did he need to use the bathroom urgently? Student, come this way quickly. Private Choi In-ho. Another hound has appeared on the right. It's dangerous. Oh, damn it. When the soldier heard this, he took out a mana gun from his waist. Then he aimed and fired warning shots towards the hound running towards Kim Min-joon from his right. However, as if questioning whether that was all, the hound leapt towards Kim Min-joon, pounding the ground with all four legs. Choi In-ho had a sense of the tragedy that would unfold, so he closed his eyes for a moment. The hound would have mercilessly bitten the defenseless civilian's neck, because he had to witness such a sight. However, what he had imagined did not come to pass. The man who'd been thought to be a civilian grabbed the hound, which was nearly 3 meters long, with both hands and folded it in half as if folding paper. The hound spewed foam and screamed, then died. This dog-like thing. I used up all my mana, so they're just food for me now. Even if my strength is weak, I wouldn't be beaten up by those weaklings. Kim Min-joon threw the hound, which was folded in half, onto the ground. He couldn't use black magic because he had used up all his mana, but he still had the physical abilities he had trained in Ice Guard. Private Choi In-ho looked back and forth between the folded hound and Kim Min-joon. Then he dropped the mana gun he had been holding with an expression of disbelief. Mr. Soldier, I have a question. Don't come too close. As Kim Min-joon approached, the soldier took a step back, looking frightened despite his scary appearance. He seemed like someone who was easily scared despite his scary face. Why did you struggle so much against a one-hit wonder like that dog-like monster? Monsters that look similar to hounds also existed in Ice Guard. Of course, they were more evil than those guys. Private Choi In-ho, did you really fold the hound in half? The soldiers who had finished the situation ran over to where he was. There were several hounds lying behind them. Wow, you're crazy. When Private Choi In-ho said he could fold a hound in half, I thought it was a lie. Sorry for doubting you. No. Did you really do that? Are you human? The soldiers praised Choi In-ho and the hound, looking back and forth between them, with some even taking pictures with their smartphones. Oh, no. It wasn't me. Private Choi In-ho tried to explain the truth, pointing to Kim Min-joon. But they wouldn't believe it. They had seen with their own eyes the student folding the hound in half. I did it, you know? The other members of the team focused their gaze on Kim Min-joon at his words. Just grab it with both hands and tear it apart? Is it difficult? Student, this is not the time to joke. It's serious. No, wait. I saw it. That student grabbed the hound with both hands. Private Choi In-ho quickly took Kim Min-joon's side, but his superior interrupted him. In-ho, there's no time for this. We have to report back to base quickly. Private Choi In-ho? Yes, sir. All the Hunter soldiers quickly withdrew from the scene, except for one who was taken to the shelter by Kim Min-joon. Student, I don't know why you went in there, but this is a criminal offense. The battalion commander doesn't want to make a big deal out of it, so we're just letting it go. Oh, I see. I'm sorry. Kim Min-joon nodded along with the soldier's words and began to ask questions to get information. You really don't know. Most high schools these days teach that kind of stuff. Well, I lived abroad, so... Actually, it was in another world. I see. Then I'll teach you everything I know. Even when I was in college, I got a plus in monsterology and dungeonology. Do they teach that kind of thing in college these days? Rare are the colleges that don't teach it. Kim Min-joon listened to the soldier's words, thinking that education policy had changed a lot. Basic things can be easily searched on the internet, so look it up. How old are you now? Me? I'm 21. At Kim Min-joon's words, the soldier looked at him as if he felt sorry for him. Oh, really? Then you're about to be drafted. Half of your 20s will be gone. It's the military. If a man serves as a regular soldier, he serves for 3 years, and if he serves as a hunter soldier, he serves for 5 years, wasn't it? In addition, Regular soldiers were subject to conscription, and hunter soldiers were subject to voluntary enlistment. This was during my high school days when the law changed, and there was a lot of talk about it. As you know, not only in Korea but also in the world, things have changed a lot. Monsters come out when you're bored. The manpower to stop them is limited. The soldier raised one hand and opened it wide. And recently, as the situation has become more serious, whether you're a regular soldier or a hunter, they've been integrated for 5 years. Now, we have to send off half of the 20s youth. 5 years? Yes. You're 21, so you must have received your summons. But the soldier's salary has gone up a lot. You'll be able to do something once you're discharged. The soldier encouraged Kim Min-joon, tapping his shoulder. Is this serious? As soon as he returned, what is this? Well, more than that, 5 years? Why has it become so long? Of course, for someone who will live for thousands of years in the future, 5 years may not be a big deal. But for ordinary men, it's a very long time. North Koreans are said to be drafted at 15 and discharged at 40. They just throw away their lives in the military. And they only receive 3,000 won in monthly salary. I really want to defect. National service. While exchanging brief conversations with the soldier, a message arrived and his smartphone rang. The sound effect is quite strange. Notice of enlistment date. What's this? Do spam messages look like this these days? Just as he was about to delete it while thinking that way. What? Are you enlisting tomorrow? When the soldier heard the notification sound from Min-joon's smartphone, he asked him which unit he was assigned to in surprise. No, it's ridiculous. It hasn't been that long since I returned from Isgard to the military. Kim Min-joon told the soldier not to worry about it and went his own way. When I heard the name of the unit, it was in Gangwon-do. And it's not spam. It's real. The soldier insisted that he should go to a nearby PC room to check if he still had doubts. What is this as soon as I come back to Korea? Kim Min-joon headed to a PC room near the shelter, even though he frowned. This was not the Korea he knew. He didn't have enough information like this. Since I was summoned to Isgard in 2018, I should look through everything from around here. Kim Min-joon read every article he could find by searching the internet. Abnormal phenomena occurring in the dungeon. The frequency of monster appearances is increasing. In short, it was like this. Within 2 years, the dungeons and monsters had become significantly larger. As a result, even ordinary citizens were being threatened, and there was a shortage of personnel to handle it. Therefore, the government seemed to be extending the military service period of soldiers as a temporary measure and actively training hunter soldiers to specialize in dungeons. The situation is worse than I thought. Not just in Korea. The entire world is struggling with dungeons and monsters. If he had brought his full strength from Isgard, he could have solved it easily. I was planning to come back and heal, but I guess the situation won't allow it. Don't you usually have to get a physical examination before enlisting? Grade 1 to 3 are active duty. Grade 4 is public service. Grade 5 was the second national service, right? But for now, let's just put them in training and see how it goes. Does that mean the situation here isn't good? Kim Min-joon logged onto the military service website to check his enlistment date. As it was written on his smartphone, it was tomorrow. I shouldn't have to go if I'm sick, right? He raised his hand to his chin and fell into deep thought. Even if he lost most of his magic power, couldn't he still make it through with what he had left? No, that won't work. Kim Min-joon shook his head. If he tried that, things would only get worse. He didn't even know how strong the hunters on Earth were. Conscientious objection is equivalent to mandatory military service. It's unbelievable. He thought about going to the Ministry of Defense and asking to cancel his enlistment, but soon gave up. I didn't come back to Korea to cause trouble. And when he looked into the Hunter Association, he found that they were treated quite well. At least the dungeon system is like that. Being a part of the Hunter Association puts you in the top priority. The basic salary was high, and above all, it was a performance-based system. I ordered ramen, set up samgyeopsal, and got a kimbap set and udon. While Kim Min-joon was contemplating what to do, a PC room part-time worker brought over a table full of food. Let's eat first and think later. The basic salary was high, and above all, it was based on performance. In other words, if you could prove your skills, you could go as far as you wanted. While you're at it, get me some ramen, pork belly, a set of kimbap, and udon. As Kim Min-joon was wondering what to do in his head, the PC Bang employee brought him a tray full of food. Let's eat first and think later. This is it. This is how it works. What? The PC Bang employee was surprised to see a man shouting with joy as he moved an empty plate. He's crazy. She quickly moved away, making up her mind not to get too close to a man who was so fond of his enlistment date. I can become a star within 5 years and destroy every dungeon there is. After thinking seriously for a while, Kim Min-jun decided to join the Hunter Army. Dunfa 10th Anniversary Special Event. Soldiers, stay strong. Of course, it wasn't because of the event that was going on in Dunfa. While the event that gives 12 the tier-ending weapons to soldiers and 13 the tier-ending weapons to the Hunter Army for the 10th anniversary did make him want to join the army. We can definitely recover it. As he breaks the dungeons, monsters with magic power will surely come out. If he can regain his lost power by absorbing the magic, wouldn't he gain the means to erase the phenomenon of the dungeons themselves? If that happens, the DNF company can develop content without worry. It would be perfect. Kim Min-jun decided to enlist tomorrow after reading the notice on the DNF website that development was delayed due to the damage caused by dungeon breaks and monsters. On the day of enlistment, Kim Min-jun spent the 2 million won he received as emergency disaster support without leaving a single one unused. It seemed like the money came from his house, which had become a controlled zone, but he didn't really care. He could earn more money in the future, so there was no need to worry about it now. I ate pizza, jokbal, and chicken. As he checked off each item on his list, Kim Min-jun nodded his head with satisfaction. Originally, he had planned to enjoy a leisurely life by dealing with monsters as he went along. I should at least have one job in my life, which could last for thousands of years. If my grandson asks, "What did you do, Grandpa?" I should be able to say something like, "I was a soldier who was highly skilled in Dungeon Fighter Online." As he got closer to the supplementary training center, he noticed men with short haircuts. Their lovers or families encouraged them. Some even shed tears as they saw them off. Kim Min-jun was naturally alone. His parents had stopped contacting him since he entered high school. I need to get my level 13 weapon as soon as I come out. He didn't really have any other thoughts. Kim Min-jun walked towards the training center with a bright expression. It was a contrasting image compared to other men who had gloomy expressions and were sighing heavily. Even if it's the military, is it just Isgard? When I think about the treatment I received there, I thought that the military might actually be a paradise. Of course, I can't judge until I experience it myself. As time passed, the news of enlistment began with a military band. After a simple ceremony, it was time to salute our parents. Salute to our parents. Ready? Salute. At the instructor's command, the soldiers awkwardly saluted. Damn, I almost messed up. Kim Min-jun was about to do the Asgardian salute instead of the regular salute, but quickly changed his hand position. Habits can be scary. 5 years later, families wept, begging their sons to come back safely. Among them were parents who approached the instructors, asking them to make sure their sons didn't get hurt. It's not like the military of the past. They could be killed by monster attacks, and military bases were usually located where dungeons frequently appeared. As they entered the auditorium, curses flew from the instructor's mouth. And that's for today, and if you want next part, then make sure to subscribe the channel and like the video and send a comment. Thanks for watching.